Hello everyone, my name is Agent Paul of Mobile Task Force Delta 7, codename Bookkeepers, and welcome back to another SCP document review. And the SCP we'll be reviewing today is SCP-8704. Object Class, Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Both SCP-8704-1 and SCP-8704-2 are to be monitored constantly. If -2 becomes hostile for any reason, it is to be incapacitated immediately. Outside of surveillance, containment of SCP-8704 is not logistically feasible at this time. Description: SCP-8704-1 is a sentient, metamorphic object capable of speech. It has taken a number of forms over the past 8 centuries, and the only consistent identifying mark across all transformations is that they appear to be stuck inside of something. Some of these forms include a stone inside of a trebuchet, a scimitar piercing the abdomen of a Turkish soldier, an ICBM inside of a silo, a sword lodged in a stone. Believed to be the inspiration for the legend of Excalibur. SCP-8704-2 is an immortal human named Frederick who possesses a telepathic connection to -1. This connection grants both of them a rough understanding of the other's location. Throughout the entirety of this connection, -1 has constantly followed -2 wherever it goes. -2 appears to be afraid of -1 and will immediately evacuate the area when -1 makes its presence known. Addendum A. Historical Logs. The following are descriptions of events found in historical logs. Due to the gap in language, these summaries have been included for ease of understanding. The original testimonies themselves are available upon request. Believed to be in reference to SCP-8704 alongside testimonials from interviews with -2. They have been arranged chronologically for clarity. Valencia, Spain, circa 1230. This is believed to have been -1 and -2's first interaction. -2 was a peasant at the time and had been searching for a job when he discovered -1, in the form of a sword and a stone. It is believed that their telepathic connection was formed here. Immediately following this, -2 ran away screaming and hid inside of a nearby barn. Pensacola, Spain, circa 1230. -2 fled Valencia and took up work as a farmhand for a few months. It is not known how -2 traveled during this time, but it somehow arrived at the same farm that -2 was working at, in the form of a knife. Based on account, -2 picked it up believing it to be an ordinary tool. Based on accounts from the owner of the farm, a disembodied voice spoke, stating, "Wield me, Sir Frederick." -2 dropped the knife and ran away, jumping onto a nearby wagon. York, England, circa 1270. -2 left Spain and traveled to England. It bought a house, got married, and had children during this time. While walking down the streets of York with its wife, a procession of knights escorting King Edward I went by. One of the knights began behaving erratically, his sword swinging wildly in its sheath. After a brief struggle, the sword detached from his hip and landed at -2's feet. -1 then vocalized, saying, "He just stole a knight's sword, get him!" in a poor imitation of a British accent. -2 tried to explain itself, but was unable to as -1 spoke again, seemingly attempting to whisper, and told -2 to "Pick me up and defend yourself." Several knights moved to apprehend -2. All of them tripped on large wooden stakes protruding from the ground, presumed to be -1 aiding in -2's escape. Nuremberg, Germany, circa 1350. While -2's actions between 1270 and 1350 were not documented, it did take up medicine practice at some point. While living in Nuremberg, it cared for victims of the bubonic plague. On one occasion, -2 was refilling its mask with herbs when a nurse reached her hand past the curtain with a vinegar-soaked sponge. -2 reached for it, but faltered upon hearing a faint voice saying, "Yes, yes, yes!" It pulled back the curtain to reveal a disembodied arm resting on a table. The arm proceeded to bounce away from -2 and out a nearby window. Pacific Ocean, circa 1520. -2 traveled with Ferdinand Magellan when he crossed the Pacific Ocean. During this time, it worked as the crew physician under the name of Juan de Acuria. During a storm, Dash 2 was dining with Magellan when there was a knock at the door. Upon investigating it, Dash 2 noticed the back end of a cannon rolling behind the main mast. Accounts from Magellan claim that Dash 2 turned pale as a ghost and slowly approached the mast. The cannon suddenly rolled back out, yelled, "Surprise!" before shooting at the Victoria, one of Magellan's ships during his journey to reach Southeast Asia, leading to a battle between the two ships. Dash 2 jumped overboard and swam away as Dash 1 followed on the sea floor. Patagonia, Chile, circa 1740. Dash 2 returned to farm work while living in South America. Dash 2 returned to farm work while living in South America, tending to a small ranch. While feeding its horses one day, it found that one of them already had a carrot in its mouth. Dash 2 began slowly backing away. The horse remained motionless. Dash 1 then emerged from the ground behind Dash 2 as a lenga beech tree. Nothofagus pumilio. Dash 1 attempted to trap Dash 2 with its branches, but only managed to grab the basket of carrots when Dash 2 ran to its horses and rode away. Dash 1 proceeded to yell expletives as it threw the basket after the retreating horse. Randall County, Texas, circa 1890. Dash 2 worked as a bartender at the Rusty Sword Saloon for a few years. One night, a drunken patron challenged it to a duel. Dash 2 insisted against this, but eventually obliged. Once they were in their positions, both of them raised their guns. Before either could shoot, Dash 2's challenger's gun went off in its holster, shooting him in the foot. The holster unclasped from its hip and began spinning towards Dash 2, shooting intermittently to retain its speed. Dash 2 ran down the main street of the town as onlookers, frightened by the anomaly before them, removed their own guns and shot at it, pushing Dash 1 closer to Dash 2. The town sheriff came to the scene and grabbed Dash 1, proclaiming it to be the work of the devil before throwing it into a well. Dash 2 was informed that the crisis was averted, but refused to believe it. They left the town that same day. Addendum B. Containment Attempts. SCP-8704 was discovered by the Foundation in May of 2022 when a 911 call about a pin-the-tail-on-the-donkey cardboard cutout chasing a crazy homeless man was intercepted. When MTF Epsilon 6, codenamed Village Idiots, came onto the scene, Dash 1 morphed into a rocket launcher inside of a duffel bag. It fired several rockets at Epsilon 6, who were unprepared for the sudden explosions. Following this, several MTFs were sent out to contain SCP-8704. All of them failed and were killed in increasingly larger explosions created by Dash 1. Despite this, Dash 2 attempted to contact the Foundation after learning of its goal to capture it. Upon being informed that the Foundation was also trying to contain Dash 1, it ceased all communication. Listen, every time we try to capture these two, more people get hurt. The world has been completely fine for the last 800 years as they rampaged across it. I say we keep an eye on them, but otherwise leave them be. Dr. Hargrove. Addendum C. CCTV footage. Foundation operatives tracked Dash 2's location to a grocery store in Florida. After examining the surveillance footage, the first and only recording of Dash 1 and Dash 2 interacting was found. Begin log. At the time of recording, it is 1:04 a.m., and Dash 2 is the only employee still at the store. Dash 2 is wiping up a pool of spilled milk on aisle 7. It looks up from the pool for a moment before getting back to work. After a few seconds, a shopping cart with a large kitchen knife stuck between the grating rolls past Dash 2's aisle. It brakes and slides another few feet before backing up right next to aisle 7. Dash 2 turns its head around for a moment, then returns its attention to cleaning. Sir Frederick? Dash 2 ignores Dash 1. Sir Frederick! Dash 2 stands up in size. It turns around to look at Dash 1. Sir Frederick, I implore you to do as I say. Grasp my handle, lift my blade towards the sky, and become my rightful owner. That's the 5th time you said that. What? usually go on a pretty inconsistent rotation of slay these fiends, take your place as the good and just ruler of mankind, and brandish my blade before the wretches, but you've been mixing it up a bit more lately. It's a nice change of pace. Well, that's irrelevant. Grab me. No. Why not? -2 rubs its temple and closes its eyes. You're never gonna stop following me, are you? No, and if you are so inclined, could you please answer my question? Why won't I use you? Because I don't want to hurt people. And that is precisely why you are the perfect candidate. You are morally infallible, a good person down to your core, and you would never strike against another in anger or fear. I don't want to strike against anyone at all, for any reason. I just want to help where I can. It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter how grand. If I can make someone's day a little better, then I've done something in my life. -2 opens its eyes and looks at -1. Go find someone else, someone who will mow down the forces of evil with you. Neither speaks for a moment. -1 shifts on its wheels. Well, maybe. -1 morphs into a mop inside of a mop bucket. -2 appears somewhat confused. There, done. What are you? Perhaps you will never wish harm upon another living soul, and perhaps we will not tear apart the great villains of this world together. But maybe this wouldn't be all that bad. -2 walks towards -1 and reaches for its handle. It stops just before they touch. Are you sure about this? Sir Frederick, nothing would make me happier. -2 grasps -1 and lifts it into the air above its head. Water seeps from the mop head and onto the ground. -2 lowers its arms and smiles. Well, what are you waiting for? -2 turns around and faces the pool of milk again. There is work to be done. End log. Currently pending reclassification to safe. And that is it. Troublesome at first SCP that seems to have gotten itself under control on its own. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Agent Paul of MTF Delta 7, and I'll see you next week with another document review. Bye.